This episode is sponsored in part by PTZ Optics. Why hire a camera operator when the control is in your hands? Visit ptzoptics.com for more information. And by NewTek, makers of the TriCaster TC1. Stun your viewers, not your accountant. Visit newtek.com for more information.
Hey guys, it's Friday and it's the last show of 2021, the show that ends all shows. We're excited. Joined as always, it's not in his contract, but he is number 2 right now, Mr. Douglas
The show
Smith.
that end all shows. I mean, that just sounded like ominous. So, we're responsible for getting everybody canceled. That's immediately what my brain.
You never know.
That's the dark place it went to as soon as you said that. But yes, last show of the year. Excited to be here. Get it all wrapped up. Put a nice bow on it. 2021 has been just as exceptional as 2020 for most people, unfortunately. But I don't know. Fingers crossed. 22 maybe better. Can't be worse, could it? Knock on wood.
Glenn was hoping so, and unfortunately tonight, Glenn is not with us. In all reality, he's at work yet, and he's probably pulling an all-nighter.
He's got a bunch of work and some new stuff going on the horizon and his day job. So unfortunately, he's having to pull extra hours and get the job done. So we miss him. Wish he could be here, but the day job, the real main money making paycheck, that comes first. We understand.
Wait a minute, we're on YouTube. Don't we? And we do live streams. You mean we don't make a living off of this? Come on, man.
That's right. I forgot. We're rich.
We're rich. We get all this stuff for free. I mean, come on.
We get that YouTube money. All $3.37 of it. Yep.
It was funny because we talked about my son. You guys that have watched the show for a while, my son Daniel. He's been on the show and he's like, Dad, I want to be a YouTuber, because he sees, sometimes review units. He's seen this before I was in
Perception and reality are two completely different things. Yeah.
And then he sees the kind of work. I'm down here till 11, 12 o'clock, shooting video, editing, uploading, putting a list together that I got to get back to a company. He's like, I said, see, it's not free. You're working for it. They're paying for it. So it was kind of an eye opener for him. Mm-hmm. So, but Glenn, I guess Glenn's just not hitting the ground hard enough. I don't know.
I mean, he was always bragging about having all these minions that work under him. I think he's just being too nice of a guy. He needs to crack that whip. And,
I know.
Say, hey guys, jump in, help me out. Let's go home at a reasonable hour. But sometimes it's just not possible. I get it.
Well, I know we talked about this being the last show, but I'm sure Doug and myself and probably Glenn, because the show happens to fall on a Friday. So next week, Christmas Eve, everybody will be with family. The following Friday is New Year's Eve. So I know I will have a house full of people. So, obviously no shows. But during the week, I am off work. There might be some impromptu gameplay shows. Well, not shows, but like gameplay live streams.
Something.
I'm sure you're going to do something, right?
I don't know. I'm feeling lazy. Feeling like just quitting YouTube and jumping over to TikTok with all the cool kids.
Now I know he's lying.
Yeah. Don't quote me on that, because I am definitely not doing that. But it just depends. I like to tell people, like, I don't work for YouTube. YouTube works for me, and I work as much as I want when I want, and that's the way I still am able to manage enjoying the job, I guess you could call it, because it really is, quote unquote, a job nowadays.
So Dave McCormick in the chat room, he got his new Legends Mini. He's loving
Ultimate
it.
Mini, yeah, Tetris style. Okay.
He's loving it.
Oh, and he's got CoinOps X Vertical. So there you go. You're definitely loving it then. You got all the games you want and hope for in vertical orientation.
So let's give a shout out to those folks. We've got Kongs R Us in the house. Travis. We've got Epic Cyclone, it looks like. Adam Cal. Tinkering on Steroids. We've got, let me scroll down here. I got to go down the list. Roteldo. We have Dave McCormick, of course. What else? Zero Heroes here. And Scott Gray, and looks like the other one, Free Burner. Is that right? Free Burner 89.
Fret Burner.
Oh, Fret Burner. I can't even read it off.
Fret. There you go. Yeah. Oh, it's all right.
Fret Burner.
You got a screen far away. Yeah.
And we got Angels in the house. And we've got To Die For, Mr. Bobby Vu, clean like a mother. I can't do it as good as him, but he's here. Who do you got over in your chat, Doug?
Oh, we got Jay Heath, 5150. We got Paul Burns. We got Josh Lawson. We got Irk Boxley, and we got a few others. So glad everybody could join us this evening. Appreciate everybody stopping by, tuning in, whatever you want to call it. we appreciate it regardless.
Yeah, so we've got some arcade news, so we're going to hit that for you guys right now.
Ho, ho, ho!
Steven, let me ask you, do you like good news? Or do you like, or do you prefer great news? Because I got great news for you.
Okay.
Zen Studios is finally releasing a pinball table that everybody's been demanding, clamoring for, asking for since the day they announced that they got the Williams license. They
Adam's Family.
to town. Close.
Oh.
Not quite. Hopefully, but this is, a sign of hopefully, good things to come in the horizon. But we're getting, as you can tell, Indiana Jones, the Williams Classic 1993, the pinball table.
Kiss.
Indiana. Hold your horses. Pump the brakes, man. One thing at a time.
Sorry. Continue.
But yes, they announced yesterday on the Pinball Show that we are getting the Indiana Jones Pinball Adventure for not only FX3, not only their new one, Pinball FX, but basically anything and everything. We're talking, the Android, the Apple Arcade, the PS4, PS5, PS20, Nintendo Switch, Xbox, you name it. Basically, if it exists to play Zen Studios products right now, you'll be able to get this. Current ETA they provided was March 2022. This is significant for a lot of reasons because, number one, people were under the assumption that anything new moving forward was only going to be on that Pinball FX, their new platform that is yet to release. And everybody was up in arms about having to rebuy things and all this stuff. So it's exciting to see that if you're, an early adopter, a PC supporter, or, Xbox, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, whatever, however you play your games, you can still get this new game as it comes out next year. It's also monumentous because this is the first Williams table that Zen has released in over a year. Their last, I think it was Volume 6 Williams Pinball Table Pack that they released came out in like October 2020. Yeah, so it's been a while since they've released anything. Obviously, they hit a home run for something that people really, really want. I would love to see Adam's Family and a bunch of other tables, but I mean, this is, like I said, this is a sign of things to come. One thing they did mention that this is not going to be part of a pack when it does come out. It's just going to be one game standalone. I would fully expect it to be probably, I don't know, $10, $15 because of licensing fees. And I know they spent a lot of time, money, and effort to make this on their new platform and essentially make it a second time on their older platform. So I know they're going to want to recoup a lot of that, investment, things like that. So I appreciate it. And holy crap, I gotta give a shout out to Complete Geek TV for an amazing super chat. They said, thanks for a year of great content, guys. I greatly appreciate that. I want to give a shout out to those guys in particular. Specifically, if you guys are around later on tonight, they're going to be doing a live stream and they're giving away
Stop.
Nope,
Stop.
Nope.
It's already been stated. Even though I'm not going to be around, I'm going to be at Spider-Man. It's coming to me. It was in. Listen, Jordan promised. He said as many giveaways as I've entered. He didn't see why I shouldn't win this one.
Yeah.
So you guys just ignore what Doug's going to tell you. Just ignore it.
So Steven has it under good authority that he's the proud winner of something, but the joyous thing about the guys over at Complete Geek TV's giveaway stream tonight is they're giving away more than one thing, so you don't have to worry about Steven hoarding and hogging it all. So they're giving away a PlayStation 5, a Nintendo Switch OLED, a freaking iArcade, like a
Xbox
Razer
controller. the Razer controller,
like a gaming controller. I mean, just the monetary value of that stuff alone is astounding. So I mean, clearly these guys are trying to give back to the community, and they are doing it in spades. Can't say enough good things about them. So please, if you guys can, later on tonight, check out Complete Geek TV's live stream. Make sure you tune in, show them some love. And if you want to enter to win some of those awesome prizes, make sure you go find them on Twitter. They've got a rules of entry of how everything is, going to play out. So,
I was wrong. Spiel. I was wrong. It wasn't Jordan that told me. Adam's the one that told me. See, right there. You guys can see it.
There you go.
So, no, in all seriousness, though, guys, all joking aside, it's a little inside joke that we have going back and forth because obviously we want the prize to go to you guys. I'm not interested in this. I'm more interested in supporting these guys.
Correct.
So stop what you're doing right now. Open up another tab in your browser. We'll wait for you. It's okay. Go to youtube.com/CompleteGeekTV and hit that subscribe button and hit the little bell. Okay? We'll wait for you. We got time. This is an hour show. We can wait. It's all about giving back to the community, right? This is your show. So we'll wait. Open up a tab. Do you guys know how to do that? If not, I can show you how to do it. It's really not difficult. Go there and subscribe to those guys. Right, Doug?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said,
we'll hold the show for
about him. Great human beings, great content overall. Just a great channel that you should be following. Unsubscribe from me if you are, and go subscribe to Complete Geek TV because they are better than my channel in every way, and I am not ashamed to say that.
Don't unsubscribe from me. I can't handle the unsubscribes. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not a.
But back to the topic on hand. Are you excited to play some Indiana Jones pinball?
I am. I'm really interested in trying it on the Switch with the pinball mini table that I have from Tulsa Arcades. I'm probably going to end up giving that away to a buddy of mine. He wants it because I have all these pinball tables. But I'm more curious, Doug, is there going to be an arcade 1-up pinball machine? Because honestly, I would probably buy that one even though I don't have room. I would find room.
We did see like an early, prototype mock-up. Was probably almost 2 years now ago. I mean, it's been a while. That was a snapshot that was shown at a licensing behind closed doors kind of deal, conference, whatever you want to call it, where they teased a universal machine that had E.T., Jaws, those type of things. They could try to work in indie, but I mean, you're talking licensing issues and more asked for the dollar, and they've already raised the arcade 1-up pinball machine like $300 in the last year alone. So I would imagine if you're trying to cram 10 movie IPs into a pinball table for arcade 1-up and Zen, once everyone's said and done, they've all got their piece of the pie. I would imagine that would be a little bit expensive, especially given the current retail climate. So is it probable? Is it possible? Yeah. Are people really going to want to pay for it? I don't know. Obviously, the consumer will have to judge and decide on that one.
So we could pretty much safely assume that if they do come out with an arcade 1-up one, it's probably going to be, anywhere from that $650 to $700 range, or even after the clearance. Certain places you might be able to get it cheaper. But Doug, if they do Universal and they do put on indie and it's an indie themed cabinet, and they do add the additional like Jaws and E.T., I could see that being a staple cabinet. Just like they do with the arcade 1-ups instead of the pinball. If they did it, I would buy it.
I mean, that one's a tricky one too, because like some of those tables, like the Jaws, the Back to the Future, those Universal titles that Zen Studios currently has out there, they're make-believe tables, if you will. They're not recreations of physical tables. And then you got that Williams, Indiana Jones, bring that in there. Things like Monster Bash, other, Creature from the Black Lagoon, you kind of throw those in there. I know some people, not a big fan of what they call the fantasy tables, and others, are solely, they want, real physical tables, whether it be virtual, whatever. They want only tables that existed in the real world. They don't want the imaginings of whatever. So, I mean, if you start mixing those, you may start pushing some buyers away, but teach their own. I mean, it's going to be divisive no matter what. I mean, you can't please everybody regardless of what you do.
And at games with Bubble Bobble, I don't remember there being a Bubble Bobble pinball table. Was there?
No, that's completely new.
Yeah, so
original.
but I love that game, and I like the fantasy, as you called it, with it. I think that's really cool to be, it's a fun game to play. People come in here, they like the new school, but it also is fun to go back and play the older tables. So there's an audience for both. But I got to say, even if it was just indie and they came up with, 12 different tables of Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade, the last, all the movies and whatever else they create, the last Pinball Escapade, whatever, I forget what they called it.
Yeah,
I would probably buy it, but they got to do at least 12 tables. $700, $650, or even $600 is too much for three pinball tables.
I mean, it just depends. Like, ever since the first iteration of the Arcade 1-Up pinball table came out, everybody's started putting their want and wish list together of like what they wanted to see for future machines. So like, you're saying you want a few more games. Other people are saying they definitely want larger screen, bigger playfield screen. They want, more haptics, all this type of thing. So it really makes it tricky for companies because they're like, well, how do we, walk that line? Do we give them more content on the existing platform? Do we revamp the platform already? I mean, it's only existed for like a year and a half now at this point. So
yeah. So
it makes it kind of hard. I mean, you're going to, like I said, once again, you're going to split that line. You're going to have people that are upset. They said, well, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Just give me more value, like an online store, or more bang for my buck. And there's other people who are like, no, I want bigger screen. I want better quality. I want all this and this, but I still want the same price. So it's a hard thing to do.
So we've got two questions in the chat room. Let's start with Potato Chips here. He wants to know, or she, I shouldn't say he all the time. How long is the Zen Studio agreement with Arcade 1-Up? They should sell those new tables on At Games Pinball. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing we don't know and we won't know. I mean, for obvious reasons, they're not going to come out and divulge that type of information. One would presume it was more than a year. And if you've been following the Zen and Arcade 1-Up relationship and their interactions and social media and things like that, hasn't appeared, just from the outside looking in, hasn't appeared to be the most symbiotic relationship, if I could just put it lightly. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Like, so that's just what I'm inferring from social media interactions and things like that. It could be the best relationship ever, and they love everybody, every side of the fence, and kumbaya and all that stuff, or it could be 100% broken down and dissolved 100% at this point completely. We don't know. We'll never know until something gets announced, like so and so signed this deal. It's just the way nature of business. But if you're wanting something like that, all you can do is reach out to those companies and say, hey, I'd love to buy this product if you had this, or I'd love to see this on your product. And hopefully they take that community feedback and they go out there and they try to make those things happen for you. I mean, that's really all you can do as a consumer.
Yeah, and we have to remember too, At Games and Arcade 1-Up have two different business models.
Yes.
If you want to think of it, and sorry to get techie with some of you guys, but you look at Apple and Android, right? Android's more open than Apple's more locked ecosystem. Both serve their purpose. Both have fans on each side. And Arcade 1-Up and At Games are similar in that respect, where At Games caters toward the tinkerer, the guy that wants to add his own stuff. And Zen is very anti that, because there's and to be fair, there's no way to police that. There's no way for them to know that you own those ROMs that you're putting on your Legends Ultimate, your pinball. So they don't, from my understanding, from what I've seen, I don't want to put words in their mouth, and I don't want to say, but in my opinion, they seem to shy away from companies that do that because they don't want to be associated with the possibility that people are pirating any kind of games. That's just my take.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, especially when you're going after these larger IPs, it makes the bargaining table a little more tricky, especially if that other side of the table with those, high value IPs are knowledgeable and, kind of have their finger on the pulse of what the community does with the product. Then maybe they say, well, we don't want to necessarily get in bed. I mean, teach their own. Everybody looks at things through a different microscope. I get it 100%, but that's something you also have to understand too. Like you said, they're two different business models. They do things two different ways. So to ask one company to act like the other, it's always, counterintuitive, because they do their own thing for a reason. They're trying to separate themselves from their competition, not necessarily blend themselves into it.
And the 40-year-old gamer in the chat room, he's talking about, real quick before we get on to the next subject here, did you guys agree? Do you guys agree that the Simpsons one-up hits your thumb? And then he goes on to say the control panel is crap. I think all the reports that we've seen from different people that have it, Doug. I mean, we don't have it personally.
I've personally not touched it, played it, experienced it. Just from the moment I saw the renders and the product showcase photos and everything like that, and the top-down view of that control panel, I immediately knew, I'm like, sorry, it's not for me. I'm not going to make that. I'm just not going to make that
investment
choice to buy something like that investment, when I'm going to have to lose something as far as hand real estate and control setup that just doesn't suit my fancy. It just simply wasn't for me as soon as I saw it. Not that I'm saying other people can't enjoy it and play it. Great. I hope you buy it. Hope you like it. Good for you. But for me, I just looked at it and I knew I was going to have an issue with it, so I backed away.
And Adam Kalb says, at games equals options. And that's just it. There's some people that like the at games machine. It's both machines. I have both. Doug has both. They're great machines. And I
like them both for two separate reasons.
That's exactly it. So I think it's your choice out there of what you want. All right. So Harrison Ford's up to no good again. I mean, he's up to something. Tell us what's going on.
He's having a heck of a week, apparently. So not only is Zen Pinball, releasing Indiana Jones, there's a report out this week that 79-year-old Harrison Ford re-signed some sort of agreement to come back into the Star Wars universe in some way, shape, or form, which is a big deal, because if you're familiar with Harrison Ford and his relationship with Star Wars as a whole, it's made his career, got him where he is, made him a crap ton of money, but he's just never honestly been a real big fan of the franchise, the fans, and it's kind of beneath him. He just comes across as a begrudging old man every time he has to deal or talk with it. But obviously somebody backed that money truck up to his house and said, hey, we got an offer for you. You probably can't refuse it. And he says, all right. But the rumor is he signed a small little deal to do some cameos, or a cameo. We don't really know the extent of it. But they're going to do a little, anti-de-aging type of thing, similar to probably what we saw with Mark Hamill and Luke Skywalker, excuse me, at the end of Mandalorian season 2. So I would expect him to show up in either, some small capacity in the Book of Boba Fett coming out in like a week or two, or maybe we see him in Mandalorian season 3, because that's a good timeline for quasi middle-aged Han Solo type of thing to go.
Yep. And here's the thing. The question I have, since Glenn's not here, and I can get away with it without him going off the rails. Okay, sorry, Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think despises the Star Wars series more, Mark Hamill's, or Harrison Ford?
Oh, it's Harrison Ford night and day. Like, Mark Hamill loves Star Wars.
Well, the last movie where he died, he was like, interviews and were like, I'm glad that's over. I don't want nothing to do with this anymore.
He was open that he disagreed with the decision to have Luke die and everything like that. That's fine. I mean, that's creative differences, but as a whole, I mean, Mark Hamill loves the Star Wars universe. He loves what it's done for him, his family, everybody involved. He actively engages, talks about it literally on a daily basis on social media and things like that. Harrison Ford, I mean, you literally have to back a money truck up to get him to even acknowledge Star Wars, because he's over it. And I get it. Maybe it's akin to somebody that got famous with a one-liner or something like that, like Larry the Cable Guy or something, with his random one-liner or anything like that. Like, you can only do something so much, or be asked the same question so much, before you just get sick and tired of it. And I'm sure that's where Harrison Ford is gone, but I'm excited to see. Realm Chat in the chat said he'll be back as a Force Ghost, which is comical.
Could be.
And I'm pretty sure he's being sarcastic, because specifically Harrison Ford has been very vocal about how he thought the Force Ghost aspect of all the Star Wars things was the dumbest thing ever. So,
what would be funny?
Go for it.
And this will never happen, but just hear me out, because I know Glenn will probably watch this. What would be really awesome is they made Mark Hamill play Kylo Ren, and then they had Harrison Ford play Darth Vader. Glenn would lose his crap.
Are you talking about like some new?
Yeah, bring back those characters, and Glenn would be sitting here going, "That's not Vader. You can do whatever they want with Kylo Ren, but that's not Vader."
That would be everybody though, because I know, but these characters are dead. Let's move on. Yeah,
it'd just be funny to see his reaction.
You're just trying to get him to like reach through the internet and strangle you.
I am, because he's not here to defend himself.
There you go.
So what's going on with CES here? I still think it's going to cancel, but I see that they're really pushing for vaccines and testing. And
yeah, I mean, we were like 16 days away or something like that, so it's right around the corner. But there's a big omission this year from CES. Arcade 1-Up is not going to be in attendance, it appears. They're nowhere on the exhibitor list. Look at the floor plan, essentially where they've been in past years. They're nowhere to be found. They're not under Arcade 1-Up. They're not under Tastemakers. Seen lots of people doing like Arcade 1-Up prediction videos, and I'm willing to bet none of those prediction videos predicted that Arcade 1-Up wasn't even going to show up at CES. So, I mean, I know me and you have talked in the past off camera about things probably moving away from bigger conventions. These companies kind of realizing that they could put together like hype videos and sizzle reels cheaper than making these big expensive trips out to these conventions, loading up trucks of merchandise, and renting out these big spaces and these floors and exhibits and stuff like that. Because make no mistake, Arcade 1-Up in past CES, they've made a big showing of it. I mean, the giant, world's largest arcade, large floor plan. I mean, they had Clyde Drexler out there signing autographs to coincide with NBA Jam last time they were there. So, I mean, they've obviously invested some time, money, and energy into CES in years past, but it looks like they're gonna hold back this year for whatever reason. I mean, you can infer whatever you want. Maybe they've spent too much marketing money on the Miami Dolphins Hard Rock Cafe thing, or the pop-up stores they had in New York and Miami, or the commercials, or maybe, I mean, there's a million reasons why they could decide not to go there. I'm willing to bet we're probably just going to see similar to what we saw last year with the whole digital CES. We're probably just going to see some timed digital announcement videos, some like little sizzle reels for maybe some new products, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as impactful as years past. I think a lot of people still, due to the supply issues, the shipping issues and all that stuff, I think everything's going to be dialed back a bit just because they don't want to announce things that they can't physically produce or get to you.
And not to get into the COVID or pandemic side of things, because we see that on the news enough. But I still think a lot of the companies, including myself, I mean, I feel this way. I still feel it's too early to be in a place where you have 80,000 to 100,000 people from all over the world congregating and potentially spreading. I mean, you get the CES bug even without the pandemic. So you come home.
Yeah, I mean,
feeling
it's thousands and thousands. I mean,
yeah,
they're CS criteria right now. They're still making sure they're requiring everybody to be vaccinated. They're showing proof of vaccination to even get in the door. You got to wear your mask while you're inside the building. So they're making steps, but still, you're getting thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon people tightly bunched into a large venue. I mean, it's a massive event that sprawls all over the place, but it's still lots and lots of people shoulder to shoulder. And I got a super chat here. I got a shout out. So we got Arcades and Pen Gods 80s GDC with a kind super chat. He has a question. It says, would they ever do a Paperboy, or Steven, you're going to appreciate this, or Marble Madness Arcade 1-Up cabinet?
I like this guy.
So Steven's a big fan of Marble Madness.
Yep.
We've already seen Paperboy on the Midway Legacy cabinet? Yeah.
But a themed cabinet would be nice. I kind of agree with that.
Themed cabinet, I honestly, I just don't see Arcade 1-Up giving Paperboy the true treatment it deserves, like, a dedicated control scheme. I think it's always going to be something that's just going to be a filler game that you're going to have to make sense of with some questionable controls, let's put it that way. Marble Madness, maybe, but I mean, still, it's all about like how many other games you can put on that cabinet that makes sense with it. So you're needing a trackball machine.
Yeah. It would have to be all trackball games, and that's kind of why I designated my. If you haven't seen it, you can go to social media, Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I decked out my At Games Legends Ultimate, the first gen, with Marble Madness. It's the original Atari artwork. It's the bright orange. But I figured I'll never ever get a home arcade of Marble Madness because unless you're doing a bunch of bowling games with it.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's low on the totem pole. Like, there's
low,
so many games that I have a personal affinity to that I would love to see released, but realistically, I know I'm like, on the grand scheme of money-making arcade titles, some of these are way down there, and you got to understand these companies are here to make money. They're here to make us happy, but they're first and foremost here to make money. And if the title they don't think is going to make them money, then they're not going to produce it or give a dedicated machine by any means.
So here's what we're going to do. Shiloh, I know you're listening. I know you're watching.
Yeah, there you go.
Because you love us.
New Wave Toys, something like that. I mean, you're going to find a better, better opportunity for I don't want this to sound mean, but like a niche company like New Wave Toys that can specifically nail the details and the intricacies of something like Paperboy and its joystick controller on a smaller scale, or maybe they give you an extendable joystick that comes out. There's all sorts of things they can do, and they're willing to do down that avenue. Whereas Arcade 1-Up's, business plan not necessarily is catering for that type of thing specifically.
So what you guys need to do, those that would want Paperboy or Marble Madness, because I agree with Doug. They're out to make money. Hit up New Wave Toys on your favorite social platform and say, "Hey, love to see one of these
Marble
cabinets."
Madness.
Yeah,
I want
put it out there.
Paperboy. I want insert game here.
That's right.
Put a bug in there because chances are they probably want to make it too. And if they hear enough voices, maybe they move something up the list.
That doesn't mean you're going to get
it.
CES. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just going to say, back to CES, like I said, it's 2 weeks away. Arcade 1-Up doesn't appear to be there physically. At Games is not going to be there physically, though even when they were there, they were in a much smaller capacity. As of right now, in the home arcade gaming aspect type of things, you're going to have Stern Pinball, which is always a tried and true supporter and exhibitor of CES. Word on the street is they're going to be announcing their new title, the next newest title coming out on the 21st. That is the expected rumored date that people are hoping and wishing and expecting them to announce the title. Rumor is it's a Rush themed cabinet for the band Rush. Stern Pinball is going to be there. iArcade's going to be there. My Arcade is going to be there. Razer Gaming is going to be there. And then there's lots and lots of at CES.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's kind of, and then it starts to like dribble off from there. But then it becomes lots and lots of overseas emulation type of companies, and that's really it. There's not going to be any other players like the ginormous was it ICE, the people that make the amusement for the home, even though it's still $3,000 to $4,000 price machines.
Yeah, they're too much.
They're not going to be there. Toy Shock's going to be at CES. If you're interested in that type of thing, they'll probably show off their tabletop that they've talked about for a year and a half. So, I mean, if you're attending CES or looking for CES, home gaming news, it's going to be a little different this year than probably what you were anticipating. But there'll still be companies out there.
So, give a shout out here. We got Ham Radio Hobo. He says, "Is this the Tech Buzz?" This is actually the Retro Buzz. This is a show that we do every Friday. It's under the Tech Buzz brand and under Cool Toy and under Glenn's Retro Show. We kind of combined to do the Retro Buzz, where we do a retro arcade, home arcade video game show every Friday. Broadcast now, that'll come back in January, so that's probably what you're used to. Or the radio show that I do on Tech. So sorry for the confusion if you're tuning in. We appreciate you tuning in, though. But I agree, Doug. My question, are you going to go? Because I know you were a little hesitant before if the major hitters weren't going. The new lineup?
I'm still planning to go, but I have a caveat, unfortunately, due to personal crisis going on in my family with my grandmother's health. So I've got refundable tickets the whole way because my grandmother, unfortunately, is
not
on
doing
hospice,
well.
right? Yeah.
Okay.
Not to try to turn anything into a
fine.
sob story, but unfortunately, my grandmother is currently on hospice. So if we lose her, or it looks like we could lose her or anything, absolutely, family comes first, and I will not attend CES. But as of right now, I'm still planning on attending CES.
So, well, I'm sorry to hear that, but that's interesting that the other guys wouldn't be there. Paul Burns says ICE selling to home market never made any sense to me at this price point. I agree with him. I said that when I heard it first.
Yeah, it's just a different market and a different. I mean, just because it's not affordable to me or you doesn't mean there's not people out there. Like the pinball machines are a great example. Like Stern has their affordable home pin, which is still $4,599, which is well beyond most people's price. Plain and simple. That's their affordable option. Most people still can't afford that. Are there people out there that are going to buy that? Absolutely. And from my understanding, they've pretty much sold out of their latest Jurassic Park home pin. So Ice is kind of the same thing. Yeah, they're saying, home dedicated machines, but they're still commercial costs, commercial quantities, things like that. So just don't expect, companies like that to like fit themselves into the business model of like Arcade 1-Up and At Games, because that's just not what they're trying to do, and that's not who they're trying to cater to.
But I see his point, because when you think of home, you think of consumer. Anything under like $1,000 is really that consumer off the shelf pricing, where like I guess I look at it from the broadcast standpoint, right? When I look at a $6,000 to $7,000 camera, I consider that prosumer, but I also could consider prosumer about $1,500, where there are some cameras that they consider that as consumer.
Yeah,
so
I mean, to each their own. I mean, there's people that'll sell you something $2,000 that's entry level. It's just
exactly. So it's
everybody's got a different mindset of the value of a dollar and the value of their product.
So I can't speak Japanese or Chinese or anything. So tell me, what has Sega got up their sleeve over here?
First of all, I'm disappointed that you're not fluent in.
I'm trying, Japanese, man. I tried to crash it today. I just couldn't do it.
But Sega announced that they're going to be issuing out a new iteration of their ever popular little mini Astro City cabinet that came out last year. This time it's going to be vertical orientation with a new game lineup. So I got it when it came out. This is my little mini Sega Astro City. Love this little thing. It's great. But it has a horizontal screen. Fine. This time they're coming out with a vertical orientation one. It's got 22 built-in games. MSRP is expected to be around $150, akin to what the original Astro City is. But, it's going to play some of your favorite vertical games if you're fans of the Sega catalog, things like Batsugun. And there's a lot of shoot-em-ups on this. I mean, it's predominantly like 80% shoot-em-ups or shmups, if you will, on this, vertical orientation little mini Astro City. So it's supposed to come out next summer, so summer 2022. But keep in mind, there's also Taito is releasing something very similar to it aesthetically in every way. It looks just like the Astro City because it's a very popular form factor over in Japan. But theirs actually has a mechanism where you can push the screen, rotate it, push it back in, so you can go between vertical and horizontal.
Oh, you mean it doesn't have set screws?
Yeah, no screws like the At Games Mini. It's literally just like a little clasp mechanism that you push in, locks, push again, it pops out, and rotate the screen. So if you want something that does both, Taito is supposed to be releasing something around the spring that very similar type of thing. But again, it just goes back to you love your shmups, you love your shoot 'em ups, your vertical shoot 'em ups, you love Sega. There's going to be something for you next summer.
I think it's a pretty nice form factor machine. I'm still trying to figure out my love for these little ones. I can't give them enough love to justify buying these.
Yeah. Well, so number one, this fit well in scale with like my existing like New Wave toys and everything, so that was good. Number two, everybody knows I'm a Sega fanboy. But number three, this is one of those like multifunctional products. So it has like HDMI out, has USB controller support, so you could turn it into a full-fledged console if you wanted to. You don't have to worry about cramped hand controls or anything like that. They offered like a full-size fight stick for it, or a smaller gamepad if you wanted, or you can plug in other controllers. So as long as they keep doing that type of thing, you can broaden your horizons, your customer base, because it's more versatile than just a standard, hey, look, we made something you love and shrunk it down to where it's impossible to play.
So one of the things I'm looking at in the chat room here, we did see Doug posted that there was a link earlier that you could have got the Arcade 1-Up Tempest Legacy cabinet for, I think it was $389, and then Amazon went and put it up there for what, $349? Was it?
No, it's even lower than that. So like the Tempest Legacy cabinet earlier broke down all the way down to $250. Quickly sold out at Amazon because that's a dirt cheap price. And then Walmart followed suit, or actually had theirs first, and everybody else kind of matched it later. Walmart was at $283. GameStop and Amazon were at $250, but sold out at GameStop and Amazon after about 6 hours. Last I checked, Walmart still had it at $283, but it's that thing we always tell people about. Like, if something's too expensive, you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. Don't fall victim to the FOMO. That's for weak-willed people. Stand your ground. These things always go on sale, regardless of company, because they always got to make room for new. It's turn. Things got to turn. Seasonality. Yep. I mean, Arcade One-Up's going to keep making products. They got to get the old products off the shelf. Those retailers are going to go out with the old, in with the new. They're going to mark them down. If they got stacks and stacks of things in pallets and warehouses, by God, they're going to mark it down. So a lot of people got a good deal at $250. Well, keep in mind, if you're looking at these newer machines these days and you're thinking, too rich for my blood.
Yep.
6 months from now.
Well, I agree with FreeBurner, or FretBurner, excuse me. $249. I would pay that for the Tron. I won't pay $600-700 for Tron because I'm not going to play it. I'm not Glenn. I'm not a big fan of Tron the game or the movie or anything like that. And I know he's going to be yelling blasphemy, but $250. It's a nice looking cabinet for the aesthetics. I would consider buying it for $249, but like you said, I'm not going to succumb to the FOMO because I have to pick and choose what I can put in here anymore. Even if I do take over the other room, it's like, why do I want to buy a cabinet that's maybe going to be played once or twice every 6 months and then it just sits here?
It just boils down to a person's personal priorities, space in their home, things like that. I mean, everybody's got to make that call, that decision, where they draw the line, if they draw the line. Some people literally, they're like, I don't care. I'll stack them on top of each other. I don't need a dinner table. I don't need a couch. I mean, everybody's priorities are different. So,
I'll be honest. I've seriously been considering, not that I could probably get rid of them, but I thought about getting rid of some of the cabinets because I've been spending more time console gaming. And, I just, rather than them sitting here, like you said, they're taking up space. The thought has crossed my mind. I could set up 5 or 6 TVs here with a bunch of different consoles connected to it. I don't know. It's one of those things that I hope it's not one of those fads that we deal with for 5 years and then we go and say, okay, this was great. Let's get rid of these things, and you can't give them to people.
I mean, that's going to happen. That's consumerism in a nutshell. I mean, people.
I heard there were going to be a collector's item, though. Who said that?
Their own. I mean, there's people that are making a killing on the Arcade One-Up Star Wars cabinet. I see it selling, semi-regularly on the marketplace and eBay and things for $800 to $1,000. That's double the asking price when it first came out. It wasn't exactly rare by any means, and when Walmart clearanced them out, several people got lucky and got it for $50. So.
Yeah.
Some things are collectible to certain people. Other things, I mean, you can't give them away. There was a viral post going around on Twitter where somebody literally put like a full-size Miss Pac-Man that had clearly been, put through the ringer out there on the curb to throw away, but it was fully intact, had a screen, joysticks, everything. I mean, like I said, it looked worn and probably didn't work, but I mean, to put it out there on the curb, you could have put that on Marketplace for $200 and it would have been gone that day for most people. So it's just, that old adage, another man's junk is another person's treasure. Same kind of thing with collectability and collectibles. What you value something, somebody's going to value completely different.
Ham Radio Hobo says if it was a Raspberry Pi and you could use it as a mini computer, it would be great. Well, you can in fact, a lot of us have Raspberry Pis in at least one of our Arcade One-Ups, so we could have bazillion different games on it. So we have been doing that using USB encoders and things of that nature. And it works really good. I mean, I've thoroughly been impressed with how it behaves and how it works. But I just think that there's going to come a point where the cabinets are going to be meaningless. And I know it's late in the game here, but Doug, I do have one of those. You guys all saw it. I think P-Dubs did a video on it. It's from I'd have to pull up the website from Tulsa Arcades. I have one of those because somebody reminded me of the Yule log here. I've been just so slammed I haven't gotten it out there. It's a riser plate that goes on the front.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So I have an extra one. In fact, I'd be glad to send it to somebody here that's here tonight. And Doug, you'd have to watch your channel.
Oh, okay.
So what we'll do is we'll give one away. We'll give it away, and you won't unfortunately have it in time. You may have it in time for Christmas, depending where you are. This is for U.S. only because it'll cost you more to ship it than it's worth.
True.
But I could get it out as early as Monday, so you may have it in time for Christmas, and that's partially my fault. JC was gracious. I've just been slammed with work and whatnot. But I'm gonna have Doug think of a cool, good question. And to pick a winner, Doug's because then there's nobody to say that I cheated or something. Pick the favorite.
The tricky thing will be determining who answered the question first because we got 2 chats going. So that's the
I'll watch.
You got a solution?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you got a solution for that, are we just gonna have to say
we're gonna have
winner
to watch
and whoever says it first? Okay.
Yeah, I guess whoever says it.
I got a question for you. So if you want to win the Arcade 1-Up Christmas themed light up front riser for your Arcade 1-Up cabinets, here's the question. So there's a certain blue bomber that turns 34 today. He is named something in America, something completely different in Japan, but made numerous video games. Very famous. Got a gun for an arm. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
I have no idea.
So we got Irk Boxley says Mega Man.
Oh yeah, whoever you got
Mega Man
first
is the correct answer. So did anybody beat me saying Irk Boxley?
No, the first one that came in on my chat was 1993, and then Willie G got it Mega Man, but that was after obviously you said it. So Willie G would have got so here's what we'll do.
Boxley. Yep, you're the winner. Steven will tell you how you get your prize.
If you email me, steve@thetechbuzz.net, very easy, you'll send it to me. And you know what, Willie G, since you were second, okay, if you email me, I will give you the one that's on my arcade because I have too many of these things around.
Taking the shirt off of his own back, essentially.
Because he was really close. So I will give you this one.
Yeah.
It's courtesy of Tulsa Arcades. I will send this to you. I'll get them both out on Monday. Send me an email, steve@thetechbuzz.net. Put your chat handle in there because obviously your name probably won't match. Give me your shipping address, and I will box it up and get it out to you. If you haven't seen it, I've tried to look for it over here on Tulsa Arcade site. Doug, I can't find it on this site to save my life.
It's all right. I mean,
but if you guys go over here, you could probably find it. Like I said, I know there's some videos out there. JC might have even posted it. But it's a holiday. It's got the
fireplace.
It's a
nice festive
it's nice
aesthetic. It just makes you feel Christmassy. Let's put it that way.
Oh, Rexer says Willie G always wins. But no, I have it on my Buck Hunter cabinet right now, and mainly I was doing it to show it off. And just to for people that were coming in here, some of them have Arcade 1-Ups just to kind of push a little business toward JC. But it's in my I don't decorate my arcade because it's a studio too. I got 3. I don't know if you guys saw it when we were getting the show ready, but I have 3 Star Wars.
Strokes, different folks. Yeah.
I have 3 Star Wars characters with Christmas balls and candy canes in their hands, and that's the extent I get down here. So, but I know a lot of these guys do it. So, yeah. So you guys, that'll be a good Merry Christmas to you guys. I am working on this for the new year. My company, obviously, I work for PTZ Optics. I'm working on trying to get some webcams. I know a lot of you guys are doing some web shows, and I'm a stickler. Doug's a stickler about good quality. And sometimes some guys got some good quality content, but the quality of their cameras, it looks like Glenn 6 months ago. So,
cold-blooded.
We want to do some of those for giveaways in 2022. I'm going to get some of those if I can, and we'll give some away. Great camera. It's USB. Mac or PC, so it doesn't matter. So stick around if you're not subscribed to Doug and myself and Glenn. Subscribe to the channel so that way you can know when the show goes live because we all stream it. But yeah, get those emails out to me Monday. I'm off, so I can get it out earlier in the day. So you guys may get it by Christmas, but at least you'll have it for New Year's even still.
Yeah, either way.
Get yourself a light strip, or the guys that won. buy one of those LED light strips with a Y splitter, the same Y splitter that you would use that has the same inputs that your power cable is, because then you can power it with your arcade. So when you turn the arcade off, the lights go out. That's what I do, like kind of what Angel does with his marquees. They give you a little Y splitter for power. Get yourself one of them while you're waiting for this to show up. It's really nice. It works really good.
Mm-hmm.
P-Dubs had a super chat. I didn't see it. Which chat? Which channel? Doug's or mine? Because I don't see it. I don't see it in mine. I know we had one from Complete Geek TV, and we thank those guys for that. That was great.
Wasn't on mine, so
it wasn't on mine here. I'm not seeing, unless it expired. I'm scrolling, but sometimes the chat gets away from me here. I'm sorry.
Irk Boxley, the winner of the Light Up Riser, says, could you please repeat your email address one more time?
Yes, sir. It is steve@thetechbuzz.net. So it's just Steve, and then you can see my lower third there. It says thetechbuzz.net. I'll leave that up real quick before I go back to Doug and I. You can just email me. Just put Steve and then an @ in front of thetechbuzz.net, and I will get it out to you guys, and you'll have a blast decorating it. And then if you wouldn't mind, put it up on social media and let the guys over at Tulsa Arcades know that you want it over here, and it'll be a lot of fun. We wanted to do it last week. I forget. I don't know if it's just slipped my mind. I had a lot going on, so
yeah. Life gets in the way sometimes.
Oh, P-Dubs.
Life comes at you fast, to quote Mr. Bueller.
So I apologize, P-Dubs, if you gave a super chat and we didn't see it, but apparently he wished Doug and I a Merry Christmas. So
Merry Christmas.
Right back
happy
at
Hanukkah.
you.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa.
Happy Festivus. Happy Life Day. Let's see how many other things. I mean, Life Day was like November 17th, but you get the gist. Wherever you are, whatever you celebrate, we wish you the best.
Mike says, if we already have a Y splitter on our marquee, is it safe to add a multiple Y splitter for the risers? Yeah, because the Y splitter's at the top. And if you notice that the Arcade 1-Up power cable has an extension, so it comes off the PCB, and then it goes through the wood or the particle board, and then you connect it to your power adapter. What I did was I put my Y splitter after that, so that way I could plug in the LED lights for behind the riser, and then I plug in the power to that. So it's not necessarily in that chain, and it's not close enough. All you're doing is splitting the signal power. If anything, you're gonna degrade power a little bit. But I've been running it like that for the past 2 months, and it's been fine. So you should be good. So I think we have one more story to round this out, right?
Yeah.
Let me get to this pulled up here. What is this?
Yeah. So I knew that was going to be the reaction. So there's a lot of people that are probably scratching their head on this one, but Zachariah, whatever you want to call them, pronounce them, you do you, and Magic Pixel, aka the developer that actually produces these games, they got a new IP under their belt, and it's probably one you're not familiar with, and I don't mean that to be mean, but this is just a smaller studio game. But Postal Redo, it's essentially a game very similar in the vein to like Xenocrisis and like Smash TV. It's a dual stick, like top-down shoot 'em up type of game. Well, they took that license and that IP and they made 4 brand new tables for pinball. So you got your things that Zakaria is known for, is making solid state versions, electromechanical versions, remake versions, and then deluxe versions. Well, you're getting one of each on this one. So you get 4 different brand new tables. Currently available on Steam and Xbox and maybe one other platform, I can't remember, but I personally got this, put it on Steam, played it on my AtGames Legends Ultimate that I have a PC hooked up with OTG, and they're fun games. If you like dark, funny horror, obviously this is right up your alley. It's not really meant for the kids. It's mature type of content. There's no like overt F-bombs or anything like that. At least I haven't heard any, but there's lots of violence and some gore and some scary clowns. So yeah, like I said, keep the kids away. But either way, something new from the Magic Pixel / Zakaria team. Something new for you virtual pinball fans out there, and I highly recommend you check it out if you've liked any of their other works in the past. Played it a lot on my lunch break today. Got up to number 4 on the worldwide leaderboards. I'm sure somebody will kick my butt right back down where I belong. But it was fun. So check it out if you like that type of thing.
And maybe At Games will get it on the At Games. But Kongs R Us said that it was a $25 super chat, wishing you happy holidays and the Retro Buzz rocks. Good stuff. Dubs supporting other channels. So we'll use this as the super chat if he did do that. I honestly, usually I get a notification here, and I don't know, maybe it's not working on here because I did see the one from Complete Geek TV, but it was a little flag at the top of the chat in the YouTube studio. I never got in, like it didn't highlight for some reason, but just so you guys know,
YouTube's gonna YouTube.
Yeah, just so you guys know, this is why sometimes I'll miss that, and I apologize to Dubs. This is how I watch the chat. You guys can see it's on his TV screen over here.
Real right squinty, like
yeah.
You gotta really.
So if
really
we
look for it.
If we miss something like that, it's not intentional, and we do apologize. But that's how I'm seeing it. So I have everybody's Facebook and YouTube in that monitor that I'm watching. So you'll see me look over. And then I have another monitor that's even smaller right next to me that I pull it up so that you guys can read it on the lower third.
What Steven is politely trying to say is that his eyes are not the age.
Hey, now, come on.
Fact of the matter is we're getting older, and things get harder to see and blurrier, but yeah.
Ain't that the truth? I play games for too long, and my eyes start bugging out, like if I play it for like 3 hours. But yeah, guys, we're going to wrap this up very quickly, like in the next couple of minutes, because I am taking the family out. We're going out to see the new Spider-Man movie. My son's been really, it should be. I'm all prepped. I got my shirt on, so I'm ready to go. So
great. You're great things for it. So you and the family hopefully will enjoy.
Yeah, Complete Geek TV said it was a good one. I thought Adam was going to drop some spoilers, knowing how Adam is, but he didn't. So we're good on there. But guys, we really appreciate everybody tuning in, hanging out with us here on this Friday as the last show of 2021. But I'm sure Doug's going to be putting out content or going live at some point. Same with me throughout the holidays. If you've got the time and you want to come hang out, great. I know not everybody's into Fortnite. I've really been into it as of late. I've been playing a lot because I like to play online with my kids and play with friends. So it's a lot of fun. So if you guys want to come out and hassle us and heckle us, you're more than welcome to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Douglas Smith, youtube.com/cooltoy.
And don't forget, Complete Geek TV doing an awesome live stream giveaway. So check them out.
What time? 10 o'clock your time, right? Or 11 o'clock your time?
I want to say it was 10:30, but I could be wrong.
That sounds about right. 10:30 Central Time?
Numbers is hard. Come on. Let's see. 10:30 Central Time. So yes, 10:30 Central Time tonight.
All right. So 10:30 Central Time, and then 11:30 East Coast. So guys, get over there. Like we told you before, go subscribe to those guys. Great guys, always willing to help the community. They've been big supporters of us. We've been big supporters of them. Had I known they'd been around, Doug, we could have got them on the show tonight. But they're
busy.
They're rock
playing
stars.
Santa Claus.
They got some cool stuff in the works that you guys, if you haven't checked out, they got a really cool video that you're going to see a lot of neat stuff coming from them in 2022. So you definitely want to subscribe. Guys, make sure you give Glenn a shout out on Twitter. Might make him feel better, especially tonight, or hit him up on Facebook. Let him know that you missed him tonight. Let him know that you're thinking about him, because believe me, I wouldn't want to work 15, 16 hours right before I got to go on vacation. So, guys, we appreciate it. Until 2022. Keep it buzzing.